Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
Despite some of that economic uncertainty Spencer was talking about, disappointment over the size of discounts, US shoppers did open their wallets on Black Friday. So what does that mean for the month ahead? Harley Finkelstein, president of global commerce company Shopify, is here with some good data, some good insights. I mean, where we ended it there with Spencer, Harley, the forecasters, the predictors say that this will be another record shopping season in aggregate. The data available to you, what are you seeing? What are the trends?
Yeah, I heard what Spencer said there. I mean, look, Friday was another record-breaking Black Friday weekend. We saw about $6.2 billion in sales for Black Friday. That's up about 25% from last year. We saw peak sales of $5.1 million per minute on Friday. That happened around noon on Friday. That's up from $4.6 million last year as well. And if you pull up, actually, anyone can see this bfcm.shop. You can actually see global commerce happening right now in real time. We are currently seeing about $2.5 million in sales per minute, about 25,000 orders per minute, and we've seen just shy of 70 million unique shoppers buy from Shopify stores. So it's certainly shaping up to be another great day, and happy to go into some of the merchants and some of the trends that we're seeing across Shopify.
Harley, what I'd like to do is actually take a sort of geographic breakdown. Yeah, because in the limited data that we went through with Spencer, I think we're recognizing different speeds of growth in particular. US versus Europe. Could we start there?
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, if you look at top-selling countries across the world where Shopify sells, we have millions of stores. In places like the U.S., we power 12% of all e-commerce. So we have a really great view of things. U.S., U.K., Australia, Germany, and Canada are the top 5. If you look at top 3 selling cities, you see L.A., New York, and London. In U.S. alone, L.A., New York, and San Francisco were the top 3. The other thing that we also saw is cross-border, but 17% of orders were cross-border orders, so shipped to a different country as well. And then in terms of top trending merchants that we saw Hatch, which is sort of this, it's something called the Restore 3, which is this phone-free alarm for kind of morning routines. Crunch Labs has a sort of kids build-it-yourself monthly toy subscription. Brooklinen on their super plush robe, and then Base has their weekender travel bag as well. So we're seeing across a bunch of different verticals do really well. But a big thing actually that we're seeing now is last year seemed to be a lot of talk about getting outside. Gifts were about the products being sold were about things like skiing or hiking or camping. This year seems to be that home is really the winner here, where people are buying things for their home, whether it's kitchen stuff for the kitchen or puzzles or blankets. But generally, consumers are buying from brands they love, and we're fortunate those brands are on Shopify.
What does that cross-border stat, that 17%, signal to you? Is that growing?
Yeah.
I mean, how does that stand up to last year when perhaps tariffs weren't such a headwind?
Yeah, I mean, I think it means is that consumers generally are somewhat geographically agnostic. They want to buy from their favorite brands. We heard from Gymshark, they had their biggest Black Friday sale ever online. AG1, Athletic Greens, was up 50%. Brunt Workwear got an order every 5 seconds. So if you think about where consumers are purchasing, they're buying from brands they love, the Vioris, the Figs, the Alo Yogas, the On Runnings of the world. And I think they're agnostic to where those are coming from. The other thing that we're seeing, which is really interesting, is that this really wasn't just about discounts this year. People shop brands, not channels. We're almost living in sort of a post-world channel where, the consumers bounce from a TikTok video to an AI agent to a website to a store, even in video games like Roblox, where Shopify powers commerce. The brands that really won the weekend made the experience feel the same everywhere they were, and that continues today.
Let's talk, Harley, about the inevitable AI question, because you are like the global commerce company. You're helping people be digitally native. How are they interacting, therefore, in this world of brands with various AI agents, whether they're their own or whether they're external, third party?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's still very, very early, but since January, we've actually seen AI-driven traffic on to Shopify stores up about 6x. But we've been preparing for this for years. We've been laying the rails for agentic. We've already announced deals with Perplexity and more recently with ChatGPT, where brands on Shopify can sell directly in those conversations. No links, no redirects, just sort of this very seamless experience directly in the chat. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Now, what permutation eventually wins, we're not sure yet, but we'll be ready for it. But the other side of it is really interesting, which is that brands, the merchants themselves, are using AI to support them on the biggest shopping season weekend of the year. So we have something called Sidekick, which is the AI assistant built into Shopify, which knows everything about merchant stores, knows everything about Shopify. And we've seen over 100 million conversations with Sidekick. So merchants are able to do things like, design, copyright, market, create these incredible analytics dashboards where they can decide where to spend in a much more sophisticated way. And so it's giving smaller merchants a real leg up against the bigger guys because this AI empowers them.
I want to go back to tariffs, Harley, but with a slightly different way of asking the question.
Sure.
You can look at overall spend, but the question we're asking ourselves in the Bloomberg newsroom is, are consumers still spending and getting less in return? So what are the data sets that you're tracking that evidence that impact of tariffs, either through a diminished spend or same level of spend, but you just get less for it?
We actually measure, both consumer confidence, but also consumers' appetite to spend at checkout. And so far, as we speak right now, Ed, $2.5 million are going through checkout every single minute. So we've operated through all types of macro environments, and our focus is always the same, which is support merchants. And I think what we're seeing, though, is that, whether during the pandemic, for example, we introduced tools like, contact list delivery back in 2020. Well, now we're creating tools to help merchants navigate cross-border tariffs and navigate sort of some global uncertainty to make sure they have everything they need. So we're not complacent about this. We're tracking macro conditions, but so far Shopify merchants consistently outperform the overall market, and we're seeing that they're they have a lot of buyers right now.
Harley Finkelstein, great to have some time with you, President of Shopify. What a weekend it's been for you, I'm sure.